This woman fell from the sky and survived. In January 1972, Europe still carried the silent weight of the Cold War. Planes crossed borders with more surveillance than trust, and political fear lurked even in the baggage compartments. It was against this backdrop that Vesna Voloviu, a young 22-year-old Yugoslavian, made history in a way no one would ever want. Vesna didn't dream of being a flight attendant. She had taken the job almost by chance, drawn by the possibility of travel and a youthful idea of freedom. That winter, she lived with her parents in Belgrade and led a simple life. Nothing in her routine suggested that, in a few days, her name would be in the Guinness Book of Records and etched into the world's memory. JAT Flight 367 departed from Stockholm for Belgrade with intermediate stops. Vesna wasn't even supposed to be on that plane. There was a mix-up in the roster. Another employee with a similar name was originally assigned. The error was caught too late. Vesna boarded with a smile, unaware that this small clerical mistake would change everything. The flight was proceeding calmly. The cabin was quiet, punctuated only by the constant hum of the engines and the occasional clinking of the service cart. At an altitude of 10,160 meters, as the plane flew over what was then Czechoslovakia, time split in two. A bomb placed in the luggage compartment exploded. The aircraft didn't stand a chance. The impact was so violent that the plane literally disintegrated in midair. There was no distress call, no emergency maneuver. In seconds, what was a commercial flight turned into debris scattered across the sky. People, seats, luggage, and parts of the fuselage began to fall like a gruesome rain over snow-covered mountains. For those on the ground, it looked like the end of the world. For the passengers, it was the end with one single exception. Vesna was in the rear part of the plane, pinned by the service cart. When the explosion occurred, the section she was in broke away from the rest of the aircraft but remained relatively intact. That makeshift metal structure became, unbeknownst to anyone, a survival capsule. The piece of the fuselage plummeted for kilometers, spinning, accelerating, defying every intuitive law of life. The human body is not made to fall from the sky. Not without a parachute, not from that height. But destiny or something beyond it intervened. The final impact occurred on a steep slope, covered in thick snow and dense trees. The incline of the terrain helped dissipate the force of the fall, while the branches broke and absorbed some of the shock. Still, survival was unimaginable. When the first responders arrived, they found bodies scattered for kilometers. No sign of life. Until they heard something unexpected, a faint, almost imperceptible sound, breathing. Vesna was alive. Her body, however, was devastated. Her skull was fractured. 3 vertebrae were crushed. Her pelvis was broken. Her legs were destroyed. Her lungs were punctured. She lost a lot of blood and fell into a deep coma. The doctors didn't believe she would survive the first night. But she survived. She remained in a coma for 27 days. When she woke up, she didn't remember the explosion, the fall, or the sky opening up. Her memory had erased the event as a brutal and merciful defense mechanism. The first question she asked the doctors was not about herself. It was, "Where is my colleague?" When they told her she was the sole survivor, Vesna wept. Not from relief, but from guilt. The recovery was long, painful, and incomplete. She was temporarily paralyzed from the waist down. She learned to walk again, step by step, with almost inhuman effort. Every movement was accompanied by pain, fear, and fragmented memories that surfaced disconnectedly. Years later, Vesna entered the Guinness Book of Records as the person who survived the longest fall without a parachute in history. She became a symbol of miracle, resilience, and impossibility overcome. But the story doesn't end with applause. The attack was attributed to a Croatian extremist group, but never fully clarified. Vesna never received adequate compensation. The government used her as a symbol, but did not take care of the consequences. She went back to live with her parents, lived with physical limitations, and faced profound depression. While the world called her the woman who fell from the sky, Vesna carried an invisible weight. the guilt of having lived when everyone else died. In interviews, she said something disturbingly honest. "If I had known what my life would be like afterwards, perhaps I would have preferred not to have survived." She died in 2016, at the age of 66. Not in a plane, nor in an impossible fall, but silently, like someone who had already defied fate once and paid the price for it every day thereafter. The story of Vesta Volovio is not just about survival. It's about chance, fragility, and the invisible cost of miracles. Because sometimes falling from the sky is less painful than continuing to live after it. And perhaps that is why this story still haunts.